We're live on Facebook. Good afternoon,
Yay.
everybody. Hey, Jen. Jen and I are just
Hey.
sitting here talking and laughing and sharing about a bunch of stuff, and it's so fun. I'm so blessed to have her agree to come on today, and I'm so anxious for you to get to know Jen Beck better. She and I share a passion to really help others, men and women, just transform their lives. And Jen's got lots of experience. I want to tell you a little bit of something about her. She's an international coach. She's author, speaker for men and women both who have been struggling with weight and health issues. Over the last 20 years, Jen's empowered thousands of people to transform their lives by ditching diets and drugs and getting to the root cause and implement real health solutions that create long-lasting results. She helps them discover their ideal foods, eliminate sugar cravings, and emotional eating. And we've got a lot to share about that, don't we, Jen?
Mm-hmm.
I love her work. As the founder of Complete Health Revolution and registered nutrition consultant, Jen has spoken to Fortune 500 companies and to international audiences, and she offers one-on-one coaching, corporate wellness programs, and highly interactive workshops. Jen, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to pick your brain.
Thanks so much for having me, Debbie. It's awesome to be here.
Oh, that goes both ways. So I want to begin by asking you, what started your journey in the field that you ended up in?
Well, I wish that I could say it was because I grew up as a really healthy eater, but that would be a complete and total lie. Um, when I was going through high school, I was living on, peanut butter and jelly on white bread, Doritos, and Hostess cupcakes.
Typical teenage diet or
Right.
college diet, right?
Right. And, my 20s weren't much better. It was, half a pot of coffee, because once you discover coffee, and then, lunch was typically fast food and dinner was a lean cuisine because I swore off cooking at 19. And I was about 26 and I got a really strong wake up call. My mom has had multiple sclerosis my entire life. And when I was 26, she was 49. And she went through a series of relapses where she went from living on her own to being in a nursing home in about 6 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
And that was after all of the preventative medications that she could put her on to make sure that didn't happen.
So young.
It was. I mean, I think about it. I'm like, that's 2.5 years older than I am now. It's just, I can't even imagine. And so I kind of went on a mission because I'm like, well, obviously the medications aren't working. Something has to help her. And I started looking at alternative medicine, and I ended up at a conference that was being taught by a pharmacist. And this pharmacist was talking about the healing benefits of superfoods, which I thought was a little ironic anyhow, because he's a pharmacist talking about food versus drugs. But anyhow, during his talk, he was talking about his wife who had had MS for 26 years, just like my mom.
Wow.
And afterwards, I saw her walking across the ballroom, holding his arm for stability and needing no other assistance. I was just floored. And I got a chance to meet her afterwards. And I said, what drugs are you on? What are you doing to manage your MS? Because your results are so much different than my mom's. And she goes, oh, I'm not on any drugs. My husband doesn't believe in them.
And he's a pharmacist. That's very interesting.
Right? I was like, tell me more. And she goes, no. She goes, the population studies are too small. They never did long-term studies on the side effects, and the side effects really kind of outweigh the benefits, or at least equal them. So I didn't do any medications. I just built my body up as much as I could with diet, supplements, and exercise. And I went, huh. And I started thinking about my mom's lifestyle. Like when we were kids, we had balanced meals, a can of green beans, a can of cream corn, instant potatoes, Salisbury steak out of the freezer, 2 veggies, a starch and a protein. That's a balanced meal, just not much nutrition in it. But
that's the kitchen they had back then.
Absolutely. And it was as much as she could do. I mean, she worked full time for my dad doing his books for his company. And so she came home and cooked as much as she could. And, but I mean, it was like, she never did any supplements other than when I was in about 6th grade, she did them for about 6 months and said, they're too expensive. They don't work. I'm not doing them. And then as far as exercise goes, the only movement I ever remember her doing is if she had a minor relapse, they'd put her in the nursing home for a week and pump her full of steroids. And then they do physical therapy for, about 6 weeks afterwards. But that was it. So I started doing research. I'm like, well, I wonder what if my mom would have done what Dr. Susser's wife had done, would it have made a difference? And so I started researching nutrition. And the more I researched, the more I saw people reversing MS and heart disease and cancer and diabetes and fibromyalgia and, all of these diseases that I thought were a life sentence. And seeing them reverse it, I just got passionate about it. And I went back and I got a certification in nutrition from the School of Nutrition Sciences out in California. And I've been on a mission for the last 20 years to help make sure that no family has to go through what we did. And really helping people to reclaim their health and recharge their lives so they can create a life that they love and have the health to support it.
Did your mom ever come on board with what you were doing?
Sort of. So she was in the nursing home for about 5 years. And in the nursing home, we had zero control over her nutrition whatsoever. I mean, she got a 1-a-day and she got a vitamin C chewable. And then, especially like the last year she was there, she was eating like 3 bowls of yogurt a day, like bowls of like a cup of yogurt has like 19 grams of sugar. She was eating 3 bowls of yogurt a day.
Just
right? Or it was like, 2 of those instant oatmeal packets, right? Because she had some dental issues that they didn't address or she didn't want to address. And so she couldn't eat solid hard foods. So she was eating all soft foods, which only perpetuated that issue. So anyhow, after about 5 years of the nursing home, we finally got into a group home up in Minnesota where they had like 3 other MS patients that they cared for. And so she was in exclusively for an MS group home. And there I got to impact her diet because, at the nursing home, she was dealing with a UTI, urinary tract infection, every other month.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
It was awful. And she ended up developing thrush and she had some other health issues and things like that. And so I was able to help the staff to change her diet and be able to work with the nurse and stuff like that on site and be able to change her diet. So it was much more supportive. She wasn't eating any more of the crap that she was eating before. And I started slipping her supplements. She still didn't believe in them. She's like, no, I'm not taking any of that stuff. I take enough pills and no, I'm not doing any of it. And so there was a product that the company I worked with had called Genesis, and it's a massive antioxidant, boost. But it tastes like juicy juice.
Oh, she probably loved it.
Oh my gosh. She didn't know she was taking it though. Because I asked her if she would take it. She goes, no, I'm not taking any of that stuff. And I'm like, fine. So I talked to the nursing staff.
Your
and I'm
hardest client.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, 110%. So I just started sending it, and I told the nurses and the aides, I'm like, hey, just slip it into a cranberry juice. She'll never know. And then one day she started complaining about how her cranberry juice tasted different, but that was it. And that was kind of like a 1 or 2 week thing, and then it just was just what it was. And there was 1 month, probably 2 years later, and the aides accidentally let the box go to her instead of them. There was a new aide on staff that day. She opens the box and she goes, "What is this stuff you sent me?" And my mom was really like, she's not a big complainer. She's not a mean lady. She's really like calm and loving and peaceful. But she'd be like, "What is this stuff you sent me?" Same stuff you've been drinking for the last 2 years, Mom. What are you talking about? I don't drink any of this stuff. I'm like, Mom, do you remember a couple years ago when you said that your cranberry juice tasted different? I said, that's because they started adding this. Just an ounce, but they started adding some of it to your cranberry juice. And she's like, what? I said, yeah. She goes, well, I've been taking it. I guess I might as well keep taking it. And then I talked her into starting to take other things because, her urinary tract infections went from every other month to every other year.
Oh, wow. That's significant.
Yeah. Right? And so then I got her on some omegas, and then I got her on a multi, and then I got her on, an immune booster and things like that. Things that were really beneficial for anybody, but very, very beneficial for somebody dealing with MS. And, she regained a little bit of a bowel function that she had lost when she was in the nursing home. She didn't get the colds and flu. She didn't get the urinary tract infections. Her aides, so she passed about 20 days before her 65th birthday. So she had been living with MS for 41 years at that point.
Oh my goodness.
And the
Wow.
nurses and aides said that we easily extended her life by 5 or 10 years because of the things that we did and the way that we changed things and stuff like that.
Well, that is a wonderful story. Um, Gosh, it's so frustrating when you have the tools to help somebody and they're just not getting it. It's just
Yeah,
so, especially if it's family and somebody that you love. It's hard.
it is. It is. But I'm grateful that, even if it was covert methods, that I was able to help her.
I love it. I love how you kind of snuck it into her day without her knowing it.
Hmm.
So that was really a good thing.
I do the same thing
Wow.
with vegetables for my daughter too. So,
How old's your daughter?
she's 4.5.
Oh, is she a picky eater?
No, hmm, yes and no. So she didn't have any like how they have the baby food pouches. She didn't have
Yeah.
any for the first year and a half without unless there was at least 2 vegetables with it. So I was really intentional in setting her up so that she had a bitter focused palate. But then she goes to school and then family introduced her to Skyline and this and that and the other, and so she's become more picky, but like I still like if she wants pizza, we'll go get a gluten-free pizza that has, she's gluten and dairy free. So we'll go and get a pizza and then I add, broccoli to it and black olives. And it's like, what other veggies can we add on there? Some mushrooms. So she still eats her veggies and stuff like that, but she definitely has developed a taste for sugar and, some more junk food and stuff like that.
Yeah,
What I would like, but she's a kid.
yeah, I was just gonna say, it's very hard to have full control over your
For
children's
sure.
diet. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And gosh, when I was a kid, nobody thought about those things. I mean,
Right.
we just
Well, I told you what I ate.
didn't. Yeah. I was actually raised on pretty good foods. I mean, my mom was very conscientious about, same as your mom, having a, protein and a starch and having a well balanced and all that.
Yeah.
She made everything from scratch. She was a stay-at-home mom.
Mm,
We ended up with 5 children in the family. It wasn't practical to buy pre-made things, so she made everything
sure.
from scratch because it was just more affordable, really, more practical. So
Yep.
I grew up that way, but there was no rules in the house as far as don't eat sugar and don't eat grain and maybe you shouldn't eat dairy. We didn't have any of that consciousness at all. In
Yeah.
fact, mom was a huge believer in orange juice every morning. Like, don't leave the house without your orange juice.
Right.
26 grams of sugar later, and just that one little cup. But
Yeah.
we all did fine. We all found our way, and
Yeah.
so. What would your advice be to young moms out there that are raising kids as far as the diet goes, or
Oh,
not diet per se, but food choices? Do you have any words
um,
of wisdom for them?
I mean, the biggest thing is do as much as you can in the way of nourishment, right? They're going to get as much as possible. I mean, the USDA says less than 15 grams of sugar per kid per day, which, I mean, the average American eats 180 pounds of sugar a year, right?
People,
So
yeah,
raising consciousness. I mean, read labels, right? So it's a big part of it is eat as many whole foods as possible. And I would say this for moms, kids, adults, elderly, right? Eat as much nutrient rich foods as you possibly can. Because if you do that, you're going to naturally crowd out the other stuff. But if
yes,
you only focus on what you feel like eating first, chances are you're not going to get a whole lot of the nutrient rich foods. And then the other thing is to start them young with more of a bitter palate, because we naturally have a propensity towards sweet because we are wired for survival, and sugar is quick energy, it's fast energy. So we naturally have a tendency for that.
no, and the brain goes yes, and
Mm-hmm.
the
And it
brain
lights
goes
up and
kill machine. Woo.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you look at the studies that say that sugar is more addictive than cocaine,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that should be a really big red flag.
Oh, absolutely. And I think people underestimate the power of the addiction for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then we're like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to give up sugar. I'm just going to say no. And that's like putting a pile of cocaine in front of a cocaine addict and going, here, just don't take any. You can look at it. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it is, and it's in everything. And, food manufacturers, they're out for money, right? And so they go into a lab when they create a new product, they go into a lab and they create something called the bliss point. which is the perfect combination of salt, sugar, and fat to make us addicted to their foods. And then they advertise super happy pictures. And if you only eat at McDonald's, your life is going to be amazing because you can have it your way.
Jen, I think the thing that was, I mean, sugar was a big deal when I found out about all the ins and outs of all of that. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I did a workshop maybe 4 years back and did some research on, actually, it was Dr. Zoller and I did research on MSG, and I was mind blown. I was mind blown on exactly what MSG really is, what it does to the body, and that it's in every prepared food, and it doesn't always say MSG, like, oh my gosh. And so finding out all the different names and how it can hide in ingredients was like mind shocking to me.
And there's so many hidden foods, and it's frustrating for me because you look at people, they want to do best, whatever's best for them and for their families, right? So they'll go and buy something like avocado oil from Kraft. And Kraft does schemy things like, 2 years ago, it used to be that they had corn, or they used to have soybean and canola first and then avocado oil. Well, now they've changed it. I take it back. It was canola, it was soybean, and then a little bit of avocado oil. Well, now they've changed it. So now it's avocado oil first, but then they have canola and soy. So because they separated those two into two different oils, now it looks like avocado is the first ingredient. But there's still more of the other junk oils in there than there's the avocado oil.
Are you familiar with the term pink labeling and green labeling?
Yeah.
I just found out about that maybe this past year. I'm like, oh, like I knew about that, but I didn't know it was called that. So would you like to speak to green labeling and how products can look like, but are not?
Yes, I would like to. My dog is freaking out. Give me 1 second.
Okay, I can hear him. Stay on, guys. I don't want to lose you.
So sorry about that. We're trying to settle down now. So greenwashing or green labeling is where you really are looking at things and it says that it's really healthy, but there's things that are hidden in there, right? Like there's some skincare companies that put things on there and they talk about how pure and clean and green they are, yet they have other stuff that's hidden in there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's really toxic stuff. I love the app Think Dirty.
Yes.
Because you can go on there and you can look and see what things are rated as, and anything that's above a 3, like I don't even touch, because they hide so much stuff that's in there, even though it looks healthy, doesn't necessarily mean it is.
Did you hear that, guys? Think Dirty. It's an app. So what do? Just scan your label and.
Yeah, you can scan. You can either type in what you want or search for it, or you can type in or actually scan the barcode if you're at the store, and it will pop up and give you a rating based on what's in it.
Perfect. And it's, it's not just a one-time use is probably not a big deal. It's the collective use of so many different things.
Yeah. When so much of that, I mean, they're endocrine disruptors. Yes. So we have this massive obesity issue and all of these hormonal issues and estrogen dominance and everything else. And it's a lot of times from the products we put on our skin. So I have a client who went through my 3-month program and she dropped 25 pounds during that 3 months. And so it kind of started her whole healthy journey. And then she decided she wanted to go on and look at toxins and be able to detox her skincare, hair care, makeup, cleaning products, all of that. And she shrunk another 2 sizes. She didn't lose any more weight, but she shrunk 2 sizes because she detoxed her life.
And let me just add here, it happened because she was committed to it.
Yes.
She wanted it. She wanted to get healthier. She wanted to find a permanent solution. So Isn't that wonderful to work with somebody like that? It
is. And I think what you said is right. She was committed to it. And it's a change in mindset. It's not just getting out of pain, but it's really creating something new. How good could I feel? What else can I do? And when we have that growth mindset versus the escape mindset,
I love that.
allows us to go so much farther and create lasting results.
Phew, that's a wonderful question to ask yourself. How far can I go? How good can I feel? That's great, Jen. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so transformative when we just shift the way that we think about stuff.
So what I always like to ask this question when we start to wrap things up. I always love to ask this. What is your parting message, the biggest, the most important message that you have woman to woman?
Oh gosh, give yourself a break.
Oh,
Right? You don't need to be perfect. It is not all about nothing, all or nothing. It is not, I have to do everything for everyone all the time, 24/7. Like, give yourself a break and take care of you, right? If you know that you want to make healthy changes or you want to lose weight or you want to improve your health, then do it one step at a time. Take baby steps because baby steps create lasting change. You don't have to do everything all at once.
that's perfect. What a wonderful message.
Thank you.
All right, guys, there you have it. Thank you so much, Jen, for sharing your time with us. I so appreciate you doing this. And
Thank you for having me.
oh, you're welcome. And I hope everybody out there learned something new today. All right, that's it for today. Stay well. Bye for now.